California is redefining what constitutes as trash for its residents. In 2022, the state is the first to mandate composting or recycling organic matter like fruit and vegetable scraps. But some California residents are ahead of the game. Seeing the benefits of composting, they've taken it upon themselves to promote the practice and educate their local communities on just how impactful our food waste can be.
Let's add them to the beds. Let's add them to the beds. Yeah. Okay. So well, we actually what we're gonna be sifting today is our first round of finished compost because we just got the bin last January, so it's almost been a year with it.
Wow.
So we haven't been able to get full metrics on what the finished compost will be. But I think so far we've gotten probably 50 pounds of finished compost from that one bin.
Save Our Waste Collective, or SOW for short, is a backyard farm that provides fresh produce, sustainably sourced goods, and composting expertise to its local community.
If it weren't for composting, all our food scraps would end up in the landfill, like everything else. In the landfill, it's just a linear line, but when you're composting, it's a complete full circle.
Composting repurposes our food waste and turns it into usable soil. Professor Trevor Zink echoes this idea. He says that modern landfills are not designed for proper food disposal and biodegradation.
Particularly organic waste in landfills will biodegrade. And because it's critically lacking oxygen in a landfill system, it biodegrades anaerobically rather than aerobically. And the main difference there is that it emits methane as a product of degradation. Methane is anywhere between 20 and 80 times more effective at trapping heat in the atmosphere than CO2. It's a pretty potent greenhouse gas. We want to avoid producing methane.
In the US, food is the largest component taking up space in landfills. And in 2017, landfills were the third largest source of human-related methane emission, according to UC Davis. That said, decreasing the amount of food we're putting into landfills can counter out existential threats like climate change.
So in the fight against climate change, we should be availing ourselves of all possible opportunities. Composting is one of those. If you do composting in a industrial scale, professionally managed system, then you can ensure that you're either having anaerobic degradation and capturing all the methane.
This form of composting that's industrialized and professionally managed is mandated throughout California. And under the new law, local governments will have to provide composting services just as they provide waste management services to all residents. But as Professor Zink notes, composting correctly is key. I spoke with Stacy Marquez, an attendee at the composting info session and regular SOW volunteer. She agrees that systematizing composting could minimize food waste and subsequently methane emissions, but worries about its implementation.
My only wondering and concern is just the information that'll be shared about it, education, and also again some people really don't care or maybe don't understand how to compost.
For Stacy, local hubs, not industrialized systems, are the preferable future for composting. Hubs like SOW Collective and LA Compost that emphasize environmental education, which in turn creates citizens who care about where their food goes and what it becomes, says Alex, who teaches composting on a regular basis.
I say, hey, do you want an orange? Do you want soil? I just created the soil, and to them, they're like, oh, you created the soil? How did you create it? I guess showing them the beauty of all this is, and then from there, they're like, wow, that is beautiful. How can I do it? And then they feel inspired.